everybody, and welcome to another ASMR video here on the channel. And today we've got a pretty exciting one. It is our first ever Q&A here on the channel. I asked you guys for your questions, and boy did you ask some questions. I got way more than I thought I would, so thank you to everyone who did submit your questions. Yes, I am sat on my floor. I figured we'd mix up the filming locations a little bit. I think it looks okay, but let me know what you think down below. I don't think we need to do too much more in the way of, setting up the video, so I think we should just dive straight in. But before we get into the questions, I figured I'd just introduce myself like I'm at a job interview. But anyways, my real name is Jacob, as opposed to my fake name. My name is Jacob. I'm 23 years old, and I live in a village near Northampton. If you don't know where Northampton is, firstly, I don't blame you. It's somewhere in between London and Leicester. That's the best I can explain it. Yeah, I reckon we just get straight into your questions. So, I've got all of your questions saved on my phone, and we're just going to go through them all. So, It's Hobgoblin asks, who is your biggest inspiration or someone you look up to? It's a good question. I mean, I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out, but it just is true. But both my parents, especially my mum, my mum's a full-time mum, and she looks after, 5 kids, including me. I've no idea how she does it, I'll be completely honest, but it blows me away. In terms of, people outside the family, I don't really have too many idols or things like that, I'll be completely honest. I'm not big into the whole celebrity culture type thing. I would say there are people that impress me and who I'd like to be like. Jamie Foxx and Donald Glover come to mind. Oh, there's a name for what they are, but it's basically when you're just amazingly talented at everything. Like everything Jamie Foxx and Donald Glover do, like singing, acting, all of that, they're just insane. And I like to learn a variety of skills. I'm obviously not on their level at all, but the stuff that they do is just amazing. So I wouldn't say I have specific people I aspire to be like, but there's people who, impress me. August Palumbo, who's a big supporter of the channel, so shout out to you, August. What's one video that you'd like to make but can't for whatever reason? That would definitely be my ASMR striptease. Ainsley Harriet, I don't think that's the real one, but he asks, do you have a job? I do have a job. It's only a part-time job at the minute. I am a video editing intern at a media company, and it's completely remote. I started it in November, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Basically doing different editing bits, reaching out to content creators for permission to use their videos, stuff like that. It's really fun. Ruben asks, which city in England do you live in? As I said in my intro, I live in a village near Northampton, which is a town. In between London and Leicester. Nothing really that special about it. I'll be completely honest. It's a pretty underwhelming place to live in. Marley Griffiths asks, what is your happiest memory? That's a really nice, wholesome question. Thank you, Marley. That's a tough one, because I've probably had quite a few in so many parts of my life. One that came to mind was me and my girlfriend went on a holiday in Weymouth, just a really simple caravan holiday, but we're not the flashiest of people. We're not it's 5-star or we're not going. We're happy with anything, and we just had a really nice chilled week. It was freezing in the sea, but we get in anyway because you just have to make the best of everything, and that was just a super fun time. Other happy memories. I remember when I used to play football, we won in one season, we won 2 cup finals, and we got to play at Northampton Stadium. They were great. Graduating from university, pretty good. I'm sure there's loads of happy memories. I've got loads of good memories memories with like my late granddad and things like that. Yeah, I think I've answered that question. Honestly, I could. Maybe that's a topic for like a future ramble video. Maybe like going through different memories and stuff. But yeah, thanks for the question, Marley. Dubby Turl asks, if you could have any player on FIFA, who would it be? Bringing it back to FIFA. If I could have any player on FIFA, I've got to link it to my Don't Be a Fatty series. I don't know. I mean, icons aside, which would be Pele or Ronaldo. Dimi Bruno. It'd have to be Dimi Bruno. I played with that card in the draft and just loved it, so yeah, I'll go with Bruno. Alexander Poe asks, what are your top 3 favourite sports? So first, definitely football. It's got to be football. Second, I'll go tennis. I think tennis. I love Wimbledon. I follow it loosely, but I don't watch it like religiously or anything. But yeah, tennis definitely. Third, see, for me, I'm just sort of football crazy. I don't watch too many other sports. Maybe rugby. I don't know. To be honest, I probably prefer watching netball to rugby. Netball is actually, I actually really enjoy watching the netball if I'm like invested. If it's like England, if it's clubs, I'm not that arsed because obviously I don't support a netball team. But netball is actually like really fun to watch. So maybe I'll throw that in a cheeky third. Maybe basketball, but again, I can't say I'll follow it too closely. So yeah, I'll go with them. Matthew Owen asks, current and former most underrated footballer in your opinion? That's a tough one. I mean, the first one that came to mind for me is James Ward-Prowse. Obviously plays for Southampton, but I think he's massively underrated. I'd have him in my England team for the sheer fact of his crossing and corner taking, free kick taking ability, but also his vision as well. I think he's a massively overlooked player when it comes to England. Unfortunately, there's a lot of talent when it comes to the England squad. And another one I'd go for, he's currently injured now, but Jack O'Connell for Sheffield United. He's a brilliant centre-back. I've watched quite a lot of Sheffield United over the last few years. He loves carrying the ball forward, he's got great passing, he's strong, he's very quick. I would honestly, if he had been fit this season, I'd have him starting in the Euros because he's left-footed, a nice left-footed centre-back to go alongside maybe John Stones, but I think he's massively underrated as well because he plays for a club like Sheffield United, but he could easily play for a team in the top 10 for sure. I mean, he might next season because Sheffield United are going down, aren't they? C. Edwards1 asks, what's your favourite style of music and your favourite album ever? Favourite style of music? I don't want to be cliched and say I like all kinds of music because I kind of do, but not like screamo and things like that. The favourite style of music, probably like drum and bass and bass line. Yeah, I love all of that, but then I also like, it's between that and EDM. So like EDM, like Swedish House Mafia, Axwell and Grosso, Avicii, rest in peace, like people like that. Don Diablo, love all of them. My favourite album ever, however, for me it's between 21 Pilots, Blurry Face. Is that the name of the album, or have I just exposed myself? I think it's Blurry Face. Or Pendulum Immersion. Pendulum are one of my favourite bands of all time, as are 21 Pilots. Both great bands, very, very different. But yeah, I'll go with those two there. He also asks, favourite and most hated footballers and football managers. Oh, that's a good one. Favourite? Well, back in the day, John Terry was the player I sort of looked up to, you know, until he turned into a bit of a knob. But it's because when I was growing up, I was a centre back, and he was like the best centre back in the Prem at the time, kind of English anyway. But he's still probably one of my favourite players ever. Marco Reus is a player. I used to watch a lot of Dortmund, and I've just always liked Marco Reus as a player. And Messi is cliche, but he's just the greatest player to have ever lived, and he's just brilliant to watch. He's sort of dropped off a little bit now, and I hope he doesn't go to the MLS MLS soon. I'd love to see him in the Prem for like at least 2 years, but I doubt it. Most hated footballers. Oh, I tell you what, I've definitely got some names, but I'll have to have a think. What I would say is hate is a very strong word. I don't hate them as people. I might think they're slightly overrated, but I tell you what, a player who I kind of just didn't get the hype was Mason Mount. I just thought I did not see what was special about him. I still don't think he's as amazing as everyone says, but he's proven me slightly wrong this season because he's been one of Chelsea's best players. I mean, it's not hard, they've been pretty crap, but yeah, the one that came to mind was Mason Mount, probably. I'm sure there's some really cocky players who I can't think of. Like, the one that came to mind was Diego Costa, but I absolutely love Diego Costa. Like, the Premier League lost, like, oh, he's an absolute legend. Just, he knew he was just going to cause some beef fights, whatever, just like a proper centre forward. But yeah, I don't really hate too many footballers, I'll be completely honest, but I'll get back to you on that one. Jerry Collins asks, Trent or Wan-Bissaka? It's a very big debate. I think you have to go Trent. You just do. I mean, he won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League. What's Wan-Bissaka won? Like, nothing really. What I would say is if I could have a mix between the two, I'd have Trent's attacking and Wan-Bissaka's defending, because Trent cannot defend, but Wan-Bissaka is awful at attacking, so... But I think I'd still go with Trent, to be honest. Just play him as a right wing back. Bull Singh asks, what are some things you would like to achieve / do this year? That's a good question, thank you. Let's go with the channel first. On the channel, numerically, I'd love to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but non-numerically, I'd like to get kind of like a bit of a community going. Streaming is something I really want to bring to the channel at some point, and we will do it when we've got a few more, followers under our belt, and just really increasing interactivity between me and you guys. Yeah, they're sort of my aims for the channel this year. In terms of my general life, I didn't mention with my job I'm not actually paid. It's only like 3 days a week internship, but my aim would be for, by the end of the year, hopefully a lot earlier, to be in a paid job. Yeah, I think they're my aims for this year, and to keep mentally sane in these insane times we find ourselves in. I think if I can keep my head after all we're going through, I think I've done pretty well. Dr. Pogba asks, who is the best footballer of all time? Messi. End of conversation. Lionel Messi. CR7 is amazing. Maradona, yes. Pele, yes. Messi's just clear. I see the argument that Ronaldo's done it in multiple leagues, but just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Messi all day long. August Palumbo, again, hi mate, asks if you could travel to any place, where would that be? It would hands down be Vietnam. I feel like I've banged on about Vietnam on this channel a lot, but having studied it for so long, it seems such a fascinating country of such rich history. I would just love to do like Vietnam properly. Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, like those kind of places, 100%. I'd also love to go back to USA. There's so much there I still haven't done. CR Siggy asks, Chinese or Indian food? Chinese. It's just gotta be Chinese. I have to be in a very specific mood to get an Indian. Chinese, I usually get chicken chow mein, salt and pepper chicken. If I don't go with that, I'll go with duck pancakes. Spring rolls. Yeah. Okay. KXK177 asks, well, first he asks CR7 or Messi. Then he asks, how are you finding life after graduating from uni? Yeah, pretty good, thanks mate. Graduating from my main so for those of you who don't know, I did history at the University of Sheffield for 3 years and graduated with a 2-1, pretty nice. And that was all normal. Got to have a nice graduation ceremony with my parents, go out for a nice meal, that was great. And then I went and did digital media production, an MSc at Oxford Brookes University. And obviously with the pandemic and everything, it sort of just like petered out towards the end. It was a bit anticlimactic, I'll be honest. I had my dissertation to do over the summer. I did that, I got the mark back, I got a first for it. And again, I graduated with a merit in that. I haven't had a ceremony yet, obviously. But yeah, as I say, there was probably like a month or so gap where I was lucky enough to get this internship with this great sort of small company. And as I said earlier, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, thanks for the question. KXK177 also asks, what position do you play in football? Well, I haven't actually played 11-a-side in a really long time. I don't think I might have played it once or twice while I was at uni, but apart from that, before that, my favourite position was centre mid. Just, spraying balls about. I also didn't mind right back, quite liked right back as well. But while I was at uni, for 3 of my 4 years I was at uni, I actually played futsal. So if you don't know what futsal is, it's basically like indoor football, but it's 5-a-side with a smaller, heavier ball. And the rules are a lot different to football, to be fair. And I loved that. More emphasis on speed, skill, tactics. It's just, I really recommend if you go into uni and you like football, try out for futsal. I think in my year 1 and 2, I paid £10 to go to the football trials. Never turned up, so I'm 20 quid down, just because there was just apparently loads of people trial, and it's more about who you know rather than whether you're any good or not. So I decided just to give that one a miss. Next question is from Abdul, who asks, how old are you? I'm 23. And who is your favourite Liveable player to play of all time? That's a toughie. I'm not actually the biggest fan of Liverpool, I won't lie. Mostly because their fan base is quite annoying, but that's a minority, a loud minority I will add, but please, Liverpool fans, don't finish me. There are plenty of nice ones out there. I'll have to say probably Suarez. I just used to love watching him play. You never knew what he was going to do. He was the same at Barca. He's still smashing them in for Atletico now, but in his Liverpool days, I think was his peak. Like some of the stuff he did with the ball, his finishing was unbelievable. I'd have to go with Suarez. I know he liked eating people, but I'd still go with him. David Alaba, I imagine it's the real one, so shout out David, keep killing it, mate. He asked what my favourite football team is. Well, the team that I support is Ipswich Town, but I feel like that's a bit boring to just say that. So my favourite Prem team is, well, it would be Sheffield United. It's Sheffield United or Spurs. I've always had a bit of an affinity for Spurs. No reason why. And Sheffield United because, well, my girlfriend has a season ticket. I'll tell you what we should do. Let's go through the main leagues. I'm not doing Ligue 1 because I couldn't care less about that. My favourite Bundesliga team is Borussia Dortmund, without a doubt. My favourite Serie A team is, it's got to be Fiorentina. I went on a holiday to Italy with my family and we went to watch a Fiorentina game. It was like a Super Cup game or something against Barcelona. Suarez scored in that actually, but Fiorentina won, and it was such a good atmosphere and everything. So I've always just had a bit of a thing for Fiorentina. And La Liga wise, it's such a cop out with Barca. I went through a phase of just watching every single Barcelona game. I think it was born out of my depression of supporting such a bad team in Ipswich that I just needed to watch the best quality I could, so I'd watch Barcelona quite regularly. David Alaba also asks, if you could travel to USA, what state would you visit? I've actually been to the USA twice before, both on family holidays. The first one, we did like an RV trip. We flew to San Francisco, then picked up our RV after a few days in San Fran, then went to Yosemite National Park, then to Sequoia National Park, then Los Angeles for a few days, did the classics, Universal, Disney, that kind of thing. And then we went to Joshua Trees and... Oh, where did we stay? Oh, I'm blanking. That's bad. Oh well, the Grand Canyon. That's it. Lake Powell. And then we finished in Vegas. And let's just say, how old would I have been? Maybe 11, 12. You're not really old enough to appreciate Vegas in, all its glory. But that was great. And then, so that was West Coast. And then the second time we went was a few years later. And we did the East Coast. So we did New York, Boston, Cape Cod. And that was really great. I really like Boston. But if I could travel to the USA, what state would you visit? To be honest, I think I'd go back to California again. Just because I'd like to do, now I'm older, I'd like to do maybe San Diego, go back to LA again, and do all of them. I'll go California. What do British people think about California? You ask. Oh wow, okay, well, I can't speak for all British people, but I had a great experience there. And he says, greetings from California. That's amazing. Hello, California. That's just crazy to me that people are watching my videos from almost the other side of the world. So shout out California and shout out the real David Alaba. August, he's back again, pesky August Palumbo. He asked, what's your favourite video you've ever made? We haven't made too many since I come back. To be honest, I'd probably say the comeback video. It was really exciting to get behind the mic again and whisper oddly. And editing that and getting it up and getting the sort of reception that it did, I'd probably have to go with that. Apart from that, probably the Vietnam War history video, just because I got to flex some knowledge that I had, and as well as edit it a bit more fancily. I hope you like those style of history videos. They take a bit more effort to put together, but I think they come off quite well. So yeah, I'd go with them. Connor S. asks, what football team do you support? As I've said, I unfortunately support Ipswich Town. Jack Collis asks a number of questions, so thanks Jack for that. That wasn't sarcastic at all. I genuinely wanted people to ask more than one. He asks, favourite animal? I'll do this quick. Penguin, straight off the bat. Penguins are just amazing, aren't they? They're just funny. Would you rather see 200 years into the future or 200 million years into the past? Or into the past. I'd love to know what life was like 200 million years ago. He puts in brackets androids or dinosaurs. Dinosaurs 100%, as long as I've got a guarantee of my safety. 100% 200 million years into the past. He also says, if you could go back to visit one historical event, what would it be? That's difficult. I'd love to be in the streets for those street parties when Britain won the war. I'd love to have been in the stadium when England won the World Cup. And one that comes to mind is, that Live Aid, the Live Aid concert that Queen performed at. That performance was just amazing, and I think it would have been unreal to be in the crowd for that. So yeah, I'll go with that. I think that's a good 3. Oh, and he also asks if you could go back and be in the stadium for one football game in any country or any competition in any year, which would you choose? So obviously that England one, but apart from that, well, I was a little too young to appreciate Ipswich winning the playoff final at the old Wembley. So probably that, or the City versus QPR. When City, I have no ties to City, but just imagine being in the ground to witness Aguero smacking that in. I remember just watching it on telly and just not really believing what I was seeing. That or Watford, Deeney. Any ones with insane last minute winners with, a story to them, something at stake. That would be great. He also asks favourite movies and TV shows. Now, I'm actually going to do a dedicated video to this for sure, because I'm a massive movie geek. I just love films. But I'll rattle them off, because I have a 3, which I can quite easily say. Number 1, Independence Day. I know it's a crappy alien movie, but it's one of those films which I'm ill, just put it on. If it's on, I'll watch it. I can just put it on, turn my brain off. You know, it's funny. It's got a great cast. I honestly, I'm not. I don't know what to say, because I know it's not the best film in the world, but I just love it. Simple as that. Number 2 is Interstellar, one of the most beautifully put together films you ever watched. The soundtrack is amazing, the acting's incredible. Matthew McConaughey is just unbelievable. As you can tell, I'm getting quite passionate about this. But yeah, Interstellar's just like probably a perfect film. And number 3 is The Dark Knight Rises. Again, the soundtrack in all 3 of the Dark Knight trilogy, for me, the Dark Knight trilogy is just perfection. I think Christopher Nolan makes unbelievable films. He really knows how to direct, and a lot of people prefer The Dark Knight. That's fine. It's a brilliant film. Heath Ledger obviously gives one of the best performances of all time as Joker. I just prefer The Dark Knight Rises. I like that Batman isn't, as strong as he has been, and it's about Bruce Wayne's redemption. Getting out of that pit is like symbolic of him getting back to his full powers, kind of thing. Tom Hardy is brilliant as Bane as well. I can pretty much recite all of Bane's lines from that film. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises. So they're my 3. In terms of TV shows, number 1, The Office. Which one, you ask? Maybe controversial, but the US one. The US one, obviously it's got more seasons, but there's just more of a story. I'm more invested in the characters, and it's just so funny. The UK one is of course funny. Gervais is a genius, but the US Office is just amazing. I think I've watched it through about 5-6 times now. It's just brilliant. 2 would have to be it's a relatively recent series on Amazon Prime called The Boys. That actually reminds me, in my favourite movies, they're like my core 3, but I should add that I just love the MCU. Like, they're like my favourite things ever. They're almost in their own league. I'm just a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the reason this reminded me was because one of my favourite series ever is called The Boys, and it's about, to give a rough summary, I'll talk about it more in a dedicated video, but it's basically about superheroes, but it's like what would happen if they were real, and it's basically how commercialised they are. Like, the crimes they fight are often staged, so their stocks go up, and it follows like a team of non-superheroes trying to take down the superhero corporation because they're like corrupt and that kind of thing. But it's just brilliant. It's the gore in it is crazy. The jokes in it are funny. If you don't mind the C word, you'll love it. Yeah, The Boys is great. And then 3rd, I'd have to go with Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones, yeah. The last season got a bad rap, and don't get me wrong, it was by no means perfect, but come on, it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was. I think everyone just was so invested in it and came up with all these theories that when they didn't align with what they wanted, they were pissed, basically. But the rest of the series were just brilliant, and I'm obviously going to go back and watch it at some point. Honourable mention is Doctor Who. Don't watch it anymore, but it was a big part of my childhood growing up, and I've still got the box sets and stuff, so yeah, I'll give that a mention as well. But I think that summarises it. But as I say, dedicated video coming soon. And that is it for all the questions, guys. Thank you so much again for submitting them. I'll definitely do some more in the future as we continue to grow, get new subscribers. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for all the support. This wasn't really a 1,000 subscriber special, but thank you again so much for 1,000 subscribers. The number just sort of blows me away. Here's to the next 1,000. I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope I didn't look too much like a ghost, because in my viewfinder I look very